I was waking up like I had been hit by a truck every single morning. 8 hours of sleep, sometimes more, and yet I felt dead behind the eyes, like my battery never charged overnight. My limbs were heavy, my brain was static, and I started thinking maybe this was just how life would feel from now on. I tried everything. Nothing worked. Until I discovered 4 habits so powerful, they made me feel like I had hacked the laws of biology. And no, it is not what you think. At first, I did what everyone does when they feel tired all the time. I bought a new mattress, got blackout curtains, switched to decaf in the afternoon. I started tracking my sleep like it was a science project. 8 hours, sometimes more. On paper, I was doing everything right. But I still woke up like something had drained me in the middle of the night. So I doubled down. Melatonin, magnesium, breathing exercises. I tried cold showers in the morning and warm ones at night. I quit screens 2 hours before bed. Nothing touched it. That bone-deep fatigue just kept coming back, no matter what I changed. And each day I felt a little more convinced that maybe I was just wired wrong. The most frustrating part was that no one took it seriously. People said it was just stress or that I needed a vacation. But I knew this wasn't normal. This wasn't regular tired. It was like my body had forgotten how to recover, like sleep wasn't doing what it was supposed to do. And no one could explain why. That's when I stopped looking for the perfect sleep hack. Because clearly, this wasn't about sleep quantity. It was about something deeper, something I was missing entirely. And when I finally found it, when I made these 4 small but critical changes, everything began to shift. My mornings, my focus, even the way my body felt walking through the day. It wasn't a trick. It was the real fix I had been chasing all along. The biggest mistake I made was thinking I had a sleep problem. I didn't. My sleep looked fine on paper. I was going to bed at a decent time, staying asleep and getting enough hours. But somehow, I was still waking up feeling destroyed. That disconnect nearly drove me insane. Because how can you be doing everything right and still feel so wrong? What no one tells you is that sleep is not just about the number of hours. It is about rhythm, about signals, about how your body prepares to rest and how it transitions back into wakefulness. I wasn't sleep deprived. I was completely misaligned. And all the melatonin in the world wasn't going to fix that if my body didn't know when to rest and when to rise. I had been treating sleep like an isolated block of time. But what happens in the hour before you go to bed and the first hour after you wake up matters just as much as the sleep itself. I was sabotaging my own recovery without even realizing it. I was sending my body mixed messages and expecting it to somehow function at full power. That realization was both frustrating and freeing, because it meant I wasn't broken. I didn't need more willpower or better supplements. I needed to restore the rhythm my body was always trying to follow. Once I made that shift, once I started respecting that rhythm instead of fighting it, my energy came back faster than I thought possible. The real shift didn't happen with the product. It wasn't a new supplement or a perfect bedtime routine. It happened one morning when I sat on the edge of my bed and realized I couldn't keep living like this. My body felt like it was running on fumes. My mind was foggy. And for the first time, I stopped blaming sleep. I started asking what was happening around it. I decided to test a new idea. What if the issue wasn't how long I slept, but how I moved through time? What if my mornings were wrecked because my nights were chaotic and my body never got a clean signal to rest or rise? That question hit me hard. Because the truth is, I had never given my body a chance to find rhythm. I was just crashing into bed and forcing myself awake with alarms. That day, I made a decision. No more chasing hacks. No more quick fixes. I was going to rebuild my energy from the ground up, using nothing but the natural cues my body was built to respond to. Not perfection, not hustle, just rhythm. I didn't know what would happen, but I was willing to try. because what I was doing wasn't working and I couldn't keep dragging myself through life. What followed were 4 simple changes. Nothing extreme. Just small, consistent shifts that aligned with how my body was designed to function. And to my surprise, the results weren't subtle. They were immediate. Not because I was suddenly sleeping more, but because I was finally sleeping right. My energy came back, and with it, so did my clarity and focus. It felt like a return to something I didn't know I had lost. The first change was painfully simple, and I almost did not believe it could matter. I stopped looking at my phone the moment I woke up. No texts, no emails, no social media. Instead, I walked straight to the window and let the morning light hit my eyes. Just 2 or 3 minutes. That one shift did more for my energy than any amount of caffeine ever had. Most of us wake up and grab our phones without thinking. But that glowing screen is a lie. It tells your brain nothing about what time it is. Meanwhile, your body is waiting for a signal, the one it evolved to respond to. Morning light, especially natural light, triggers your internal clock. It tells your body it is time to wake up, not survive. The science backs it up. Light in the first hour of the day increases cortisol in the right way, helps shut off melatonin, and syncs your circadian rhythm. But when your first light is a phone screen or a dark room, your body stays stuck in limbo. That is why you feel groggy. That is why your mind stays half asleep for hours. You are waking up in the dark, literally and neurologically. I did not need to become a morning person. I just needed to stop flooding my brain with chaos before I even got a chance to breathe. Now, no matter where I am, I start with light. Outside if I can, by a window if I cannot. It is not a morning routine. It is a reset. And the clarity it brings is so real, I can feel the difference in the first 10 minutes of my day. The second change felt almost too easy. I stopped trying to force myself into intense workouts and instead just moved my body, slowly, gently. Within 30 minutes of waking, I would stretch on the floor, walk outside, or even sway to music in my kitchen. It was not about burning calories. It was about telling my body we are here and we are alive. Most of us spend our first waking moments completely still. We sit, we scroll. We sip coffee and wait for our brains to catch up. But movement is what wakes you up from the inside. It gets your blood flowing. It warms your muscles. It gives your nervous system a signal that the day has begun. And when I added it to my mornings, my energy shifted from fog to focus. It did not have to be perfect or structured. Some mornings, I only stretched for 2 minutes. Other times, I took a short walk with no goal, but to breathe and feel my feet on the ground. The point was not performance. The point was rhythm. And this rhythm, simple as it was, gave me more clarity than any productivity tool ever had. Once I stopped demanding motivation and started creating motion, my whole day changed. I was no longer waiting to feel awake. I was generating that feeling myself. I went from surviving my mornings to actually arriving in them. And that made everything that followed feel less like a battle and more like momentum. This one took me the longest to figure out. I thought skipping breakfast or grabbing something sugary was harmless. But what I ate in the first hour after waking up had a huge impact on how I felt for the rest of the day. When I started feeding my body real fuel early, my energy stopped crashing by mid-morning. I stopped feeling drained before noon. It turns out your body is looking for stability first thing in the morning, not a sugar spike, not a caffeine blast. Real nutrients. When I began eating a simple breakfast with protein, healthy fats, and minimal sugar, I noticed my focus held longer and my mood stayed more balanced. I was not just full, I was fueled. I also started eating at the same time each morning, even on weekends. That consistency helped reset my internal rhythm. It was like giving my body a time anchor, a signal that the day had started and energy was available. Before, I was waiting too long to eat or grabbing whatever was convenient. Now I treat breakfast like an essential step, not an afterthought. It does not have to be complicated. Eggs, toast, a smoothie with greens. Something that reminds your system that it is time to engage, not shut down. The change was quiet but powerful. I was no longer running on fumes or chasing energy throughout the day. I was finally starting with enough of it. The fourth change was not about the morning at all. It was about the night before. I used to treat my evenings like leftovers, filled with whatever noise or distraction I had left in me. Screens stayed on. Work bled into rest. My brain never got the message that the day was done, and I kept wondering why my mornings felt so heavy. Once I began protecting the last hour of my day, everything softened. I turned off bright lights. I stopped scrolling. I let my body settle without being yanked around by stimulation. That shift told my nervous system it was safe to slow down. Not just physically, but mentally. And that stillness made sleep feel deeper, even if the hours stayed the same. I started calling it my wind-down window. Sometimes it was reading, sometimes just breathing. No pressure to perform or be productive. Just a quiet signal to my body that we are closing the day. That softness carried into my sleep and, more importantly, into how I woke up. I felt less jolted and more grounded, like my system had finally exhaled overnight. Sleep is not just about how long you stay in bed. It is about the quality of the space you enter before it. Once I gave my evenings a shape, my mornings stopped feeling like a crash landing. They started feeling like a quiet return, and that made all the difference. The first morning I felt the difference. I did not believe it. I woke up before my alarm, eyes clear, body light, and for a second, I thought I had overslept. But I had not. I had just rested for real. No crash, no fog, no instant urge to reach for caffeine. I sat on the edge of the bed and realized something in me had shifted. Not dramatically, but deeply. It was not some huge breakthrough. It was more like a quiet return. A reminder that this is how mornings are supposed to feel. Not rushed, not heavy, just present. My mind was calm, not racing. My body felt ready, not resistant. And the more I stuck with the rhythm, the more reliable that feeling became. It was not perfect, but it was real. The best part was that it did not feel like I was forcing anything. I was not trying to hack my life or overhaul my personality. I was just moving with my body instead of against it, letting it rest when it needed to, letting it rise when it was ready. I stopped chasing energy and started creating the conditions for it to show up naturally. Now, I do not wake up dreading the day. I wake up able to meet it. And after living in that fog for so long, that small difference feels massive. It gave me more than better mornings. It gave me trust in my body again. You do not need to fix your entire life overnight. You do not need a perfect routine or the latest wellness trend. What changed everything for me was not a dramatic transformation. It was consistency. 4 small steps, repeated gently, without pressure. And those steps created a rhythm that finally let my body do what it was designed to do. Rest, repair, wake up with energy. The most important thing I learned is that your body is not fighting you. It is trying to communicate with you. That grogginess in the morning is not laziness. It is a message. That fog is not failure. It is feedback. When you start treating your energy like something you can nurture instead of force, everything softens. You stop bracing for the day and begin to meet it. This process taught me to trust stillness, to trust light, to trust rhythm. And in a world that constantly pulls us away from that, reclaiming even a little bit of it feels like a radical act. You do not have to be extreme. You just have to be consistent enough to give your body a signal it can believe. So if you are always tired in the morning, start here. Pick one step. Try it for a few days. See how your body responds. It will not all change at once. But one small shift in rhythm might be the exact thing your mornings have been missing. And when the energy does come back, it will not feel like hype. It will feel like home.